In A Doll House by Henrik Ibsen, there are some characters that stand out with their different drives and motivations, but there's one in particular that is interesting, and that is Nora Helmer. Nora is the wife of Torvald Helmer, whom does not treat her like how we expect a man to treat their wife, at least now in our day and age, but this was apparently the stereotype of 1879. In the beginning of the play, Nora's attitude and responses is very similar to what we refer to as a spoiled child. Her husband Torvald treats her mostly like a child. He gives her an allowance and calls her pet names like squirrel or songbird. The pet names we don't really think about until we read further into the play and see her actions and responses, like not paying attention to someone when they're talking, or even the random moments when she giggles and is clapping her hands. We see that Torvald calls her these little pet names because he sees his wife as more of a doll than an equal, and we will also come back to that point at the end. I just thought that that's how she and her husband communicated, like privately. But I saw when her old friend Christine Lynn came to their home and was speaking with Nora, it became very obvious that she wasn't messing around. She thinks very selfishly, and whatever she does, she deserves praise. Similar to when a little kid puts their toys away in order to get a cookie as an award. Yeah, Nora thinks that she can get more money by doing the littlest of things. Nora doesn't exactly know social cues and doesn't understand social normalities. What I mean is when she makes her deal with Krogstad and doesn't understand all of his little hints of blackmail. Nora doesn't think anything about the agreement. She simply takes the money that she needs to help her husband, then starts paying back Krogstad in smaller payments over time. And just a reminder, this isn't the borrow $20 from a friend type of thing. Nora borrowed $1,200 from Krogstad, so that makes a difference. And just for clarification, $1,200 in 1879 would be equivalent to $30,205.44 in 2019. Krogstad notices that Nora must have missed one small detail, aka the date next to her father's signature that she forged, and he decides to use this to his advantage by threatening to tell her husband about their arrangement if Torvald fires Krogstad from his job. And Krogstad's job is in jeopardy because Christine came into town looking for a job, and Torvald has a position for her, but that position comes with the cost of someone else getting fired, which just so happens to be Krogstad. But after Nora learns of the dirt that Krogstad has on her and leaves her home, he is seen leaving by Torvald, and he comes to ask Nora what Krogstad was doing at their home. Nora lies and says that she doesn't know what he's talking about. Torvald is unhappy with the fact that his wife is lying to him, so he teaches her about how raising children around lies can corrupt them, and this begins to make Nora want to distance herself from her own 3 children, as if they can smell lies or something. Meanwhile, Nora is trying to figure out something where both Christine and Krogstad can both keep their jobs. As Nora is talking to Christine, Christine is trying to figure out who Nora borrowed money from. When Christine learns that Krogstad is the one that Nora borrowed money from, she sees this as an opportunity for her to help herself, but also Krogstad, because she needs a job and he needs someone to help raise his children. This helps Nora calm herself down when Torvald finds out about Nora and Krogstad's arrangement. Torvald is in anger while we notice that Nora is giving short little responses as she listens to Torvald's anger. When Torvald gets the letter from Krogstad saying that he's sorry for his last letter and that he will not be blackmailing them anymore, he is overjoyed. After seeing how mad Torvald was at her, then being happy by the letter and beginning to be all lovey-dovey with her again, as he insults her by saying she can't live on her own, Nora decides that she doesn't like seeing that side of her husband, so she decides to leave him. As Torvald is trying to understand why his wife is leaving, Nora explains that they don't really even know each other. Nora has been trying to figure out what she needs to do to make every situation right, but when she sees the side of her husband, she sees now that her real challenge is trying to figure out what it is that she needs to do to help herself. She sees her marriage as a complete joke, and they have 3 children and have been married for 8 years, and this is the first time that they have ever had a serious conversation. In Nora's head, her marriage isn't what she always dreamt of it to be, and she doesn't feel that she is good enough to be a mother to her children, so she suddenly says that she's going to leave. She wants to have a new start. When Torvald begins to criticize Nora in her choice to leave him and their 3 children, he says that she is betraying her most sacred duties, which in his mind was her duties to her husband and to her children. Nora disapproves of her husband's claims and states that she has other duties that are equally as sacred, the duties to herself, also saying that she is not just a wife and a mother, but she is also a human being, just as much as her husband. This is the part that I was saying earlier, how Torvald sees Nora as more of a doll than an equal. Also, every time Torvald tells Nora that she doesn't understand, she backfires and says that she knows that she doesn't understand, but she wants to understand more, but she can't do that if she is still with her husband. As Nora's leaving and gathering some of her belongings, she tells Torvald that she doesn't want to have any contact with her family and keeps referring to them as strangers. She keeps calling them strangers because, as I said before, she doesn't feel like she truly knows who they are. Nora's goal at the end of the story is for her to find herself and that the wonderful would become true. The wonderful meaning that her marriage would not be like playing with dolls in a dollhouse, but a true marriage, and for that to happen, they would both have to change so that their lives together would become a true marriage, one that has emotion, equality, and understanding, rather than a wife as a dummy and a husband as a puppet master.